there, my name is Spielbeck, and the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And the first season of Snowpiercer finished, I think this week. No, about a week ago. Oh, no, I think it was this week. So I finished the whole thing. I was going to review it episode by episode because I quite liked it. I was surprised to quite like it. But I thought it's probably easier to do just a season review. People are much more into binge watching now, and now you got 10 episodes to binge. If you haven't seen it, it's a strong recommend for me, regardless of its, I would say, admittedly very silly premise, which it is. But I think it's a strong recommend for me, and it might just be because there's nothing else on. You know, there's nothing else going, but I liked it a lot. We're going to get into review in detail and tell you what to expect. But before we get there, can I ask you guys, can you hit that subscribe button? Thank you very much. I'm extremely grateful for everybody subscribing. If you subscribe, I'm not going to tell you. It's going to imbue you with an incredible amount of both sexual prowess and magnetism. I'm not going to tell you that, but it might. It might. Why take the risk? Why hit the subscribe button? You never know what could happen. And if you subscribe, you can enter my regular competitions. This one is for Indiana Jones, the complete Indiana Jones adventure. What was the complete Indiana Jones adventures at the time of release, which didn't include Kingdom of Crystal Skull, or the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which I never really liked anyway. I thought it was a bit disappointing, a bit dweeby. But it does have Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade, plus a disc of fantabulous bonus features. All you need to do to win it, is subscribe to the channel, and in the comments leave the hashtag Dr. Jones. Hashtag Dr. Jones. I really got to look up what Bob Dylan song it has Dr. Jones. You know something's happening, but you don't know what it is, do you? Dr. Jones. I could look at that. Every time I say it, I think of that, and I like, I'm in the middle of making a video when I do it, so I never think to stop and look it up. Anyway, fine. So let's talk about Snowpiercer. So Snowpiercer's pedigree it's a French graphic novel, which they, from like the 80s, from a long time ago, in which they then did a sequel like 20 years later, and then a third one. So the graphic novel bears no relation to any of the adaptations that followed, other than the basic premise. So the first adaptation, which I watched before I watched the TV show, because I wanted to be brought up to speed. I wasn't sure if the TV show was set in the same universe and was a sequel to it. No, it's not. The movie I thought was okay. It's saying that if it was on Netflix or I was channel surfing, I would watch it for a bit. It's nowhere near the same pedigree. Nowhere near the same pedigree as a TV show. It stars what's his name? Captain America. Chris, one of the many Chris's, and John Hurt's in it. And what's the other guy? RoboCop, who's in Westworld, who's pretty good in that. But whatever. So they're on it. The basic premise remains the same, but it's not very good. It's not very good, and certainly what's his name? He doesn't have the acting range to pull off what the script entailed, what the script asked him to. That is not a problem with the TV show. So the basic premise is this, which is admittedly a bit silly, and once you get over it, the basic premise of most TV shows are a bit silly. That we have spaceships and an international Starfleet going around being very nice to people. It's a bit silly, but once you get through that silly, it's good. You have an alien who travels the universe in time and space in a blue box that's big on the inside than the out, and can completely change their appearance every time they want to get a new actor in. It's a bit silly, but we love it. So it's the same thing. I just think I grew up those other things that are a bit silly, but I love dearly. And then with this, so I had to ease myself into it. So the idea is that to combat global warming, some kind of chemical was put in the air which made the entire world freeze, completely freeze. Everything's 130 degrees below zero, and essentially humanity is dead. The only people surviving that we know of are the people on this train called Snowpiercer, that for some technical reason, for some technobabble reason, can has infinite amounts of fuel and power and can just go round and round for forever. And if it ever stops, they got like 13 minutes and before they all freeze to death and die. And so this train, this massive train, 1,001 cars long, Snowpiercer, 1,001 cars long. Each episode starts off with another character monologuing, talking about Snowpiercer. And they all end up with Snowpiercer, 1,001 cars long. And it's like a 10-mile long train. But the interesting thing about the train, well, there are many interesting things, other than it's the last remnants of humanity. These like 3,000 people that are stuffed on the train. You have a very, very strict class system. You have first class, which is the people who have spent billions of dollars, like mega rich people spent billions of dollars. So again, the problem I have with this is, how is there any money? After all of humanity is dead, how is being rich going in any way? But which I actually think is kind of an interesting thing. Like people hold on to outmoded forms of society for quite a while, which is what I think it's saying. So you have them, you have second class people who also they live a pretty good life. Your third class people, they got on for free, but they're the ones who do all the work and they have it's a much more squalid existence. But the really truly squalid existence are the tailies, the last few cars where there's no windows and there's very little light and it's super cold. These are people who just got on when they saw the train was leaving, and the tailors are the subclass, the underclass, and they survive on this like disgusting bricks of jelly that they make for them and deliver them. They're treated with suspicion and anger and prejudice, I would say. But as again, they're not supposed to be there, but they're there. Fine. So this rigid class system was instituted by Mr. Wilford, the creator of Snowpiercer, the engineer behind Snowpiercer, and a quasi religion has grown up around him. So no one's seen Mr. Wilson since the train started. He's been in seclusion at the front. And the face of the administration is Jennifer Connelly's Melanie Cavill. Now, Jennifer Connelly is one of the great reasons to I was going to say is the reason to watch the show, but there's a lot of reasons. But her performance is, she's an Oscar-winning actress, and she's very clearly an Oscar-winning, and she's very, 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 very good. It's a very clever performance. You start off believing her to be one type of person, and as the series progresses, layers upon layers of a character are somewhat stripped away, and not stripped away. You get to see deeper and deeper and deeper inside her, and by the end of the season, she's a completely different person who you thought at the beginning. But it's all completely organic. It's the same person. It's not. There weren't any jarring revelations, and her performance is just. I would say mesmerizing. It's it's a mixture of like this need for complete control and like this complete ruthlessness with played off against this very crowd pleasing. She's a head of hospitality for a reason. She's like very professional, very austere. And in general, fascinating character, and she is really in charge of the of the government. So it turns out, and this is going to be a mild spoiler, you get into it in like I think the second or third episode, when you find out that Mr. Wolford isn't there at all, that he's completely vanished, and he's not on the train, and Melanie is pretending he's alive. He's just pretending alive to maintain order, because Mr. Wolford's word is law. Everybody exists because of Mr. Wolford. And then when you get the revelations, you find out why he's not there towards the end of the season. Really, really interesting. So again, another spoiler for season 2, which is very well very well documented at this point. Sean Bean is coming on board to on season 2, and he will be playing Mr. Wilfred, who I was through most of this season. You think he's dead. So how he turns up at the end, really, really interesting. So again, you got this really, really strict feudal society where you have within a 10-mile walk, which is the length of the train, complete abject poverty to opulent wealth. I mean, the opulent wealth you have, there is a somewhat is a brothel car sort of, but it's more of like it's more than a brothel car. It's more of a like a psychotherapy car. People like working out their issues with the end of civilization through their sexual encounters. So yeah, so the first class live in this absolute luxury. They're tended by Melanie Cavill, the head of hospitality, and her number two is what's her name is Ruth Wardo, played by Alison Wright. Again, fantastic, great character. Really believable. A really terrible person, like a really genuinely terrible person. But you get to understand why and who she is and how she views herself as not being a terrible person. She's got like a northern accent. In the movie, she was played by what's her name? Lord of the Rings. I'm not that man. I kind of want to click back on the IMDb and of the movie and see, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah. She just has this unbridled hatred for the Taylor. So the star of the series is David. Who was it? David Diggs. So he's he's a reasonably decent actor. You know, he's a good. He can perform the role. Interesting character. Just acted off the screen by Jennifer Connelly. And I would say to a certain extent, was it Ruth who played? What's her name? Plays Ruth. Just looking at Alison Wright. Yeah. He's really genuinely acted off the screen, and there's not a diss against him, against him at all. So he's a tailie, and he's a former detective. And there's been some. The season opens. There's been some murders, and then Melanie wants to investigate it and keep it quiet. The only form of sanction or prison they have in Snowpiercer are the drawers, which are these drawers that people go into and are kept in suspended animation. And this process is very, very unreliable, and if you wake up from it, you may die, you vomit, you feel bad for ages. But that is their system of punishment, right? So yeah, because he's allowed to go and check this murder, you get to have a complete look at the whole society of the train. I find the third class really most interesting, because there it's kind of like people have made spaces for themselves. There's a criminal class on the train too, which I also really liked. That was done by run by the head janitor. So all of this I just feel was a very, very interesting and I think authentic representation of what humans are like when you put them together. So throughout the season, which again, another piece of plotting and storytelling, which I thought was really good, which I thought they did well in both like Babylon 5 and Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Battlestar Galactica as well, where there's going to be a war coming, a revolution coming, and you see slowly over about 7 or 8 episodes all the pieces being moved in. You know what it's like? It's like the Game of Thrones Red Wedding. When you get to the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones, you understand there's no way that couldn't have happened, right? There's no way that couldn't have happened. It's just how the politics played out. You had Robb Stark couldn't not behead that person who was an ally, and the Boltons could not have reacted a different way, and the Freys would have reacted that way. It's all completely so that's really what the season is like, and that's really one of the reasons why I like it. Plus, I do like the whole the train going through the frozen tundra. That's really fun. That whole setting is great. You slowly see this revolution forming, where you have factions from the tail, factions from second class and third class and first class, all with their own agenda, looking to take down Melanie, Jennifer Connelly's character, and establish a new order. So when that revolution does come, it does come to the end, and those last few episodes are directed by James Hawes, who I think is a producer on the show as well. And James Hawes is a real talent. He did He did like the Empty Child of Doctor Dances episodes of the 2005 series of Doctor Who. You know, the one with the kid with a gas mask, and the first Christmas special, and New Earth, and School Reunion. So he's a solid resume. I'm not sure if it was him. He did this like kind of like Catholic horror series called Apparitions. Somebody did who worked with Doctor Who. Have you ever seen that? It's a really spooky show that I recommend. So because of this investigation, was it David Diggs? Was it Andre Layton? His detective is teamed up with one of the policemen. There's a civil police force on the train called the Brakesman. So he's teamed up with this woman. What's her name again? I can't remember, but it's Mickey Mickey Sumner. She plays Beth, Beth Francis. So he's teamed up with her, and she gets to see things from his perspective, which makes a difference. I do like the Brakesman as well. You have a commander, and everybody on the train has lost family, and they are dealing with the post-traumatic stress of the end of the world, as we know it. As I said, and then you have this whole military faction as well, which is supposed to you have the civil police and military, and all that comes into play when the revolution happens over those last 3 episodes, and it reaches a really interesting conclusion. I'm really excited for season 2. It's a strong recommend for me. It's really a strong recommend for me. It's a different show. It's an interesting show. It's a show that's setting up its own world, its own lore, and I think it's doing it very well. So listen, and it's, I would say it's not preaching to you in any way. It's talking about class systems and how there are how they do affect us badly, but also it talks about how they support society as well. So it's not a simple, single-minded view of humanity or reality, which I really appreciate. You get to see 2 sides of the argument. Again, strong recommend. It's on Netflix now. If you're outside of America, in America, I believe it's on TNT. Great show. Go check it out. But let me know what you think in the comments. My name is Phil Becken, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.